Steve Okeleji. I always like to keep it simple. I say I'm a proud farmer. I am a farmer. Yeah, so I always say I was privileged to be born by an old veterinarian, because not everybody has that privilege, really. But I have that privilege to be fathered by an old veterinarian, and growing up on the farm was quite interesting. I was Spartan, and it really helped me to hop the game so early in life, because I was able to have a lot of real hands-on practical experience. Growing up, I remember Dad used to have an integrated farm with, arrays of animals and arable crops, and we did all that with pleasure. So it really shaped my start so early in life. Yeah. So I didn't even start with Fish Shoal Nigeria. Yeah, I started with Aqua Centric Nigeria, and that came up on the wings of the incessant industrial action strike, with the academic university union those days. And we normally had, that continuously. And the question for me then was, what will you be doing with your time? And so for me, background is everything. I say it with every pride that I inherited, or I was lucky to have a very good background. Parenting was at its peak for my parents, and they gave us the best of upbringing, myself and my 3 other brothers. And so growing up, we read books, and that fired our imagination so early. I grew up to know my dad as an entrepreneur, and I know what it means to earn and make money. You want to live a good life, you must also work and make your own money. And so that inspired me so early to quickly also want to be an entrepreneur. And the books we read fired our imaginations and opened up our minds. And so I think basically that was why I decided to start business in school. And during the hustle strike those days, what really inspired me was that, will I be wasting my time going back home doing nothing, or just working where you can make more money? All right, so I started with small boxes of fish, 2 boxes of raising the fish in boxes. I was supported by my lecturer, Professor G.N. Ezeri, who really believed in me and held me by hands. I remember he would give me fish on credit to go sell in the north, and come back, give him back the money. And that was how I started. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very critical question. And most young people miss that gap. They don't always know when to pivot. But before you pivot, you must stay on the thing. You must be hands-on. You must have been a master of a thing before you think of taking a tangential into different things. Like you said, I started with with Fish Shoal Nigeria after Aqua Centric Nigeria. And then Aqua Centric was just in the formative stage. And then later I said, I needed a name that would resonate what we're trying to do in the space of aquaculture. The name is Fish Shoal, that is the mass movement of fish, shoal of fish, the fish moving shoal, right? So I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was studying aquaculture in school, all right? So I wanted to do something very unique with my course of study. And at the point at which I thought of Aquatic Hub Afrique Network was even way after I had graduated, years after I had graduated from school. And I looked at it and said, there's so much gap in the industry. And the gap is the knowledge gap. Fish Shoal Nigeria, totally practical farms, our farms, and we have expanded into a lot of states where we're practicing real farming thing. But I said, at the point at which I took that tangential into Aquatic Hub Afrique was when I saw that knowledge gap, and I said to myself, what can we do differently? How can we help build the capacity of key players within the sector of aquaculture? And also, how can we also help new entrants, get insight and knowledge, because you cannot do anything successfully in life without backing it up with the right knowledge. And so that was what informed Aquatic Hub Afrique Network. Yeah. You'll notice that in Nigeria today, or let me say across Africa, because I've been around, so I can tell you across Africa, the smallholder farmers are very critical to the growth of any nation and to the sustenance of any nation. They contribute about 80%, if not more than 80%, to the producers of food across Africa. And so if you leave that sector, that critical component, unattended to, unfortunately, Africa over time do not have a support structure. When you, at a point in time, see a situation where our sector was left, when I say our sector, the agricultural sector across Africa was left unattended to. And because of that, other sectors developed. The banking sector, the health sector,
the sports,
every other sector, we're moving at that pace. But the sector that was not even attended to was the agri sector, the agricultural sector. And we forget that this is a very critical sector that needs attention. And so the smaller holder farmers have taken a real badge over time by not being attended to, either by government, either by other stakeholders, either by development agencies. But there's a new turnaround. The thinking is now agriculture. And everybody is beginning to think about it. But we caught that bug so early in life to say, how can we support the smallholder farmers? We need to build their capacity. They need to change their mindset from the old traditional ways of doing things and adopt new technology, new ideas of doing things, and innovations too. You see, it's quite humbling to be a part of a critical change in Africa. Like I said, I've been around Africa. I've been to farms. I've been around places where people could not even think of. And I see the challenge. I see the challenges around that sector. And my major concern over the years has always been that, how do we leave potential to chase bubble balls as a people? And I made up my mind that I was going to, with my team, work hard and tirelessly to see how we can change that narrative. And that was what inspired us to say how we can continue to train people, work with developmental agencies. And like you said, the most humbling part of it was some time ago when I got to Nairobi and I saw a young man who said to me, "I know you, sir." I apparently didn't know him. And said, at some point we helped to train under the GIZ program, the German program done in Nigeria here, is to support farmers and to develop other sectors across our major concerns in Africa. So the German government has been doing quite a lot, in offering such kind of support. And he said, I want you to visit my farm. That I was inspired with the kind of training you gave to us when we were under that program. And so when you travel across the world and you meet people in different places that you will not even ordinarily think you'll still meet people, and they still recognize you and to see your impact, such stories are quite humbling, and you just want to continue to do that. It starts with us. Number one, we must realize that we have a problem. And we must be able to come together to ask for solutions to those problems. And how do we do that? We must, as youth, as young people, as key actors, participate in not just helping to reform our policies, because when you look at it across Africa, we've always had very good policies around almost all the sectors of our human endeavors in Africa. But basically, we also need to be a part of those who implement these things. All right. And so if we really want to be a part of, how do I put it now? If we really want to be a recipient of the success, that is around this sector, we must participate. We must participate. We almost all participate. I want to say the innovation that excites me most at the moment is our own genetically improved farm fish, tilapia, that we've been able to do in Aquatic Hub Afrique Network with the help of some of our geneticists from Asia. It excites me because we have 4 different strains of this tilapia that we have already introduced in the market, and they are doing quite well in terms of growth, in terms of performance, in terms of carcass weight, in terms of the short time you get this fish to harvest sizes. And it excites me because I know that this is the buzzword. You see, we live in a country where over time we keep putting people who do not have the substance to deliver on a thing, to handle major sectors, and these are real setbacks to us, and that's been the decision over the years. And so what we've been able to do basically is to also work closely with the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy to also share some of these success stories that we've been able to do over the years, and see how we can work together to also see a situation how we can reduce the importation of farmed fish into Nigeria, and also bridge that gap of fish shortage by producing this tilapia, because they grow faster, they're able to hit the harvest weight in good time, they convert feed better, and if we're talking about fish insufficiency, that is a smart way to actually bridge that gap, as against what we've been doing before, which has always been the catfish thing, Yeah. You see, the space, the blue economy space, is a buzzword. It's an uncharted path in Nigeria. We have not even started it. What we keep doing is scratching the back. That sector is a multi-billion-dollar sector that each component being identified can be turned into a gold mine, the blue economy sector. And like I said, that we're just scratching the back in Nigeria. But we're lucky to have a very smart Minister of Marine and Blue Economy who is trying to situate that department very well in Nigeria, and is beginning to see how they can open up different sectors of the blue economy to also be able to help our economy at large in Nigeria. So I see that as a good prospect, and I see more participation. If it's encouraged, we will be able to at least start well with the blue economy sector in Nigeria. That's a tough one. Like I said, that over time in Africa, we've been left with a lot of challenges unattended to. And unfortunately, like I said, that we do not have enough support structure. Luckily, I am also a member of the PSAG. That's a private sector advisory group of the United Nations, and one of our focus basically is to promote the 17 sustainable goals of the UN. And sustainability is a critical word. And now that you're asking a question, how do we also balance that with large-scale production? You have to be able to, balance it in a responsible way that every sector or every section of your business involvement, as it comes to land, water, the selection of sites, the selection of the species of fish, the feed as it impacts on the environment, everything must be balanced. It's a bit complicated, But the most important thing is to stay on advocacy and to also see how we can continue to push, this knowledge that we have, and to also educate other key players in that sector.
Okay.
And that's what we've been doing in trying to also advocate. Yeah, everything comes back to the smallholder farmers. Like I said, they are the wheels on which every other sector drives, really, because you cannot stay hungry for more than a day. So you need food. And that's a very critical sector. Now we're talking about transforming our food systems. Farmers over the time have grown to do things in a traditional old way. With a growing population in Africa, we must be thinking of upscaling with new technologies and abolishing those old traditions that has not really been able to help us to achieve, the kind of output we've envisioned over time. And so, building a capacity of these farmer groups or farmer folks, either small scale or medium scale, is very critical. And all hands, like I said, must be on deck. There's no too much of it that we can do in terms of continuous, impact, pushing the knowledge, supporting them with the basic skills, and also with, soft credits to also give to them. In honest fact, I would not say that the farmers are getting the right impact or support. Yes, the government might feel they're trying their best to give the necessary support, but the question is, if you have to carry out a survey, how many farmers really benefit from this? And then what even gets me a little bit irritated and angry is sometimes when I hear that you want to give farmer 2.5 million naira to upscale. 2.5 million naira is nothing in the scale of things today in Nigeria to support any farmer. If you really want farmers to participate, all you need to do is, number one, build their capacity, put the infrastructure in place, and give them subsidized inputs. That's all you need to do. And the other thing you need to do is also build an offtake, agro-processing zones or units or whatever you want to call it, to offtake, add value to it, get people who can export. And that's another sector we might be looking into. But when you focus basically on all the peanuts, I see that as peanuts. You give them 2.5 million, that is not what the farmer needs. Put the infrastructure in place, keep them highly subsidized inputs, and create the market, the processing, off-takers. That is when I would agree that the government is doing enough, not the peanuts. It's always basic knowledge. I tell anybody who wants to go into any business, especially in this business of aquaculture, you must first of all do everything to gather the knowledge. When you gather that, you also need experience. You must have a staying power to stay on it, learn, burn your fingers, document your failures, document your successes, and grow, get credits, because you need money. So you must be able to fund it. If you can get credits, good credits. If you can't get good credits at a very low interest rate, you have to raise funds from family and friends. Build your business, stay on it. Never be afraid to dare. Never be afraid to fail. And over time, you can begin to take it tangential and build your business in a way that it can also allow someone else to look into it and say, I want to invest in it. Yeah. To answer your question, if I want to go back to my youthful days, I want to think about it. In all sincerity, I have no regret about it. I enjoyed every bit of my youthful stage because I never filtered a moment. I was impact driven because of my background. The knowledge that I had so early as a young man. So I was always very eager and aggressive to do something, something remarkable. Um, so I said something about parenting. I remember my mom used to say, go out there and be the first among equals. She used to be a teacher. And so that was just right at the back of my mind and I had to say, you just have to be the first among equals. So that was the impetus that drove me throughout my youthful days. No regrets. If I might regret a thing, it could be that I didn't start playing golf early. That's just the whole regret I got, man. I should have started playing golf so early, but I'm going to make sure my daughters start early enough to play golf. Yeah.